Hi everyone, it's the BSV bulldozer. How's life? So, I was going to put a video up, but something has come out of left field, which I often say is bound to happen, and here it is. I think I'm pretty sure I said it in relation to the COPA case that something would come out of left field, and Craig Wright has dropped a bombshell. So the title of this video is Craig COPA Proposal, Thoughts. So I've got the proposal in front of me. I'm looking at Craig Wright's website, and I'm going to go through it and give you my opinion on the proposal. Now, I haven't been influenced by anybody else's opinion on this, so this is all fresh from my brain. And I've done that deliberately. So I have actually read through it, but I'll go through again. I'll read it through. I might sort of quickly skip over bits and pieces here and there, but I'll give you my opinion on each bit. So here it is. Title: Dr. Craig Wright issues settlement offer to COPA members and all parties in upcoming intellectual property litigation. In February, I'm due to face a group of individuals and corporate entities in London's High Court, where I intend to uphold my intellectual property rights in Bitcoin as its creator. So already COPA would not be able to sign off on that because they don't believe that Craig Wright is the creator of Bitcoin. But anyway, let's move on. However, the focus of my various litigations to date has never been on revealing my pseudonymous identity as Satoshi Nakamoto, but on mandating that Bitcoin remains faithful to its central principles. Now, I would dispute that. I don't think a lot of his lawsuits are focused on mandating that Bitcoin remains faithful to its central principles. I think a lot of the time he's wanted to hold people accountable for various fraud and criminality in the space, but also on holding people accountable for libel. So I don't think that statement is particularly accurate. Anyway, going on. These are set out in the Bitcoin white paper, today widely recognized as the authoritative foundation of all forms of Bitcoin. It describes a peer-to-peer electronic cash system focusing on enabling small casual transactions, known as micropayments, directly between parties without the need for a financial intermediary. So that's fair enough. My issuance of copyright claims against the Bitcoin developers was a measure to protect the continuity of those principles. So the, in quote marks, Bitcoin developers holding up this white paper and saying that it was what their technology was based upon, in a way is a lie, because the technology is completely different from that original goal. So his issuance of copyright claims against those developers was a measure to protect the principles enshrined in the white paper. Or at least that's what he's saying, but was that his aim at the time that he made those copyright claims? I would say it's not exactly that. I would say it's a mix of things, including this is my technology, you're using it and you're using it incorrectly, which it's possible that's summed up by that sentence, but I think there's a little bit more than just protecting the continuity of those principles. So it's my opinion that Craig Wright has acted like a vigilante for a lot of Bitcoin SV's history, and to me, part of this document is already smacking like he's tired of it and he wants to move on from the vigilantism. So that's one angle that I'm getting, but there's more to it. So I'm going to keep going. And by the way, I actually like the idea of him moving away from this whole court stuff and focusing on Bitcoin. So part of me is like, yep, it's time to move on and actually get serious with Bitcoin development. To that end, today I have sent to my opponents in the COPA litigation the passing off claims and database rights claims, a non-negotiable offer to settle each of these cases, which is reproduced in its entirety below. This settlement offer preserves my objective of maintaining the integrity of the Bitcoin system as it was initially developed, while limiting for all parties the needless expense of a lengthy High Court trial, which would take our collective focus away from supporting, adopting and advancing digital currency technologies, not just my own work, but those of potential good faith competitors, my legal opponents included. So you've got to actually read between the lines of this whole thing. And I'll get to another conclusion that I've made about this proposal shortly, but I'm just looking through and sort of parsing what he's saying and trying to read between the lines. So one of the things here is that those of potential good faith competitors, my legal opponents included. So I don't think that he thinks his opponents in general are working to the positive development of digital currency technologies. I think he thinks that they're nefarious parties, but he's wanting to put it out there that, you know, we're all in the same boat, correct? We all want to actually support, adopt and advance these digital currencies. And I think underlying that is in a positive direction. In clear demonstration of the sincerity of my offer, I agree to waive my database rights and copyrights relating to BTC, BCH and ABC databases, and to offer an irrevocable license in perpetuity to my opposing parties who collectively control, operate and/or own those databases in pursuit of encouraging the open commercialization of technologies in a competitive and fair market where intellectual property rights are respected and exploited. I intend for this offer to enable them to compete fairly in parallel with BSV. Now, there's a bit of rhetoric in there, but one of the key things of this whole proposal, in my opinion, comes out here in terms of this irrevocable license and the database rights that he claims that he has on BTC, BCH and ABC as the inventor of Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, COPA would say that's wrong. What right does he have to issue a license to them? And what are the terms of this license? So they would dismiss this paragraph, in my opinion, summarily because it relies on the assumption that he's Satoshi Nakamoto and that he holds a copyright to BTC, BCH and ABC, which is actually why they're taking him to court, because they're trying to prove that he isn't. So this one they would chuck out, and I think that they would chuck out the whole thing based on this paragraph. They're not going to go with this. I think COPA is not going to go with this. I'd be shocked if they did. They might try to negotiate, but I don't think they'll go with this. And it's mainly on this paragraph, in my opinion. Now, it also leads me, and this is my point, I don't think the point of this document proposal is to come to an agreement with COPA. I think the point of this document is the document itself, for people, the general public, to read it and go, that's interesting. Have BTC, BCH and ABC strayed from the original vision of Bitcoin? And is BSV the real Bitcoin? So it's possible that this document is actually a marketing tool, and it's a way for him to get his voice heard in the community before the trial begins. I'm not sure though. It's really interesting. You can't just read this document and say that's what he intends to do. These are guys at a poker table, right? And they're playing their cards now, and this is a card that he's playing. So it's not necessarily about the goal that is stated in the document. You've got to read with more laser focus. I believe the settlement terms are broadly uncontroversial, beneficial to the industry as a whole, and intended to draw a fresh start in the history of Bitcoin to guarantee its success in whatever form it takes. Broadly uncontroversial, maybe. The document itself is not uncontroversial, it's very controversial. I don't agree with that. I think the terms in there are controversial. All parties now have 7 days from the date of this offer to agree to this settlement, or we shall progress to trial. 1. I make the below offer to each of the opposing parties in the claims, together the opposition, in order to refocus my personal priorities, which include 1. Continuing to develop intellectual property for the benefit of blockchain technology and beyond. 2. To ensure Bitcoin, in particular Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, plays a key role in the development of payment infrastructure. And 3. To spend more time with my family, amongst other things. Now, I doubt very much that he would like to see any other version of Bitcoin apart from BSV play a key role in the development of payment infrastructure. But I think that maybe he's just, let's just all consider Bitcoin the same thing, but it's not really, right? I think what he wants to do is show that he has utter confidence in Bitcoin SV and none of the other Bitcoins. 2. My intention is to align with a portion of COPA's mission statement, which is to encourage the adoption and advancement of cryptocurrency technologies. Yeah, okay, that's pretty straightforward. I don't think he really thinks that they're in the realm of encouraging the adoption and advancement of cryptocurrency technologies. I don't think that they do that. I mean, if you look at BTC, that hasn't advanced, has it? That's gone backwards as a technology. So 3, in that respect, I want to continue to be a force of good by encouraging the open commercialization of technologies in a competitive and fair market where intellectual property rights are respected and exploited. Okay. It is therefore my intention to ensure that the relevant Bitcoin Core BTC, Bitcoin Cash BCH and ABC Coin, ABC databases and assets can operate and compete fairly in parallel with BSV, which I hope can compete in the global community going forward. So going back, where intellectual property rights are respected and exploited. Now, this is the whole crux of the case, isn't it? His patents, Crypto Open Patent Alliance. So he's saying, I want you guys to respect my patents that I've filed. But they don't respect his patents. That's the whole point of the case. So they would put a cross right through that paragraph, in my opinion. And that second part, I think that's sort of the marketing aspect of this proposal. So no, they would not accept this. 4, you now have the opportunity to review and accept the below offer for a total of 7 days from the date of this letter, being by 4 p.m. on the 31st of January 2024. It is my intention to find a sensible solution to these claims and to allow all the parties to continue their respective projects in a competitive and commercial environment. That's a little bit fluffy. The offer. 5. The terms of the settlement offer are made below. 6. Claims, costs and charitable donations. A. The claims are discontinued in their entirety and the respective claimants discontinue their claims by filing a notice of discontinuance within 24 hours of acceptance of this offer. B. Costs in the claims are borne by the respective parties, i.e. no order as to costs. I am aware COPA includes some of the largest cryptocurrency companies in the world, including Coinbase and Kraken, and Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram and others, which I believe have significant revenue and assets. On that basis, I am hopeful that the benefit of discontinuing proceedings far outweighs the costs incurred in continuing the claims, which may endure for years. Okay. C. The respective parties each make a charitable donation to Burnside, a uniting church in Australia, with charity number which supports single mothers or alternatively another charity agreed upon by all parties for the expected value of the cost of pursuing the above claims through to the end of trial or where there are cost awards in their favour. For example, I shall make a donation of £1 million, which I believe is put to better use with the charity. It is expected that the opposition evidences proof of payment publicly. Playing a bit on the heartstrings there, is it Craig Wright? Interesting one, that one. I didn't see that one when I did the quick scan before. But, yeah, fair enough. Better to put the money towards a charity than towards court costs, okay? On the surface level anyway. But I think that might be a little bit virtue signalling. Not sure. D. I declare and undertake to ensure that no funds or costs in these proceedings are for the financial benefit of myself and that all funds due to me shall be donated to the charity. In that way, I do not financially profit from the claims in any way. 7. Bitcoin. I, any affiliates, associates or otherwise shall not pursue and are prevented from pursuing any database rights or copyrights together with the rights in relation to the BTC, BCH and or ABC databases, and opposition which control, operate, manage and or own those databases are granted an irrevocable license in perpetuity to exploit, use, assign or license, subject to the below provisions, those rights for the purposes of exploiting BTC, BCH and or ABC. I've kind of already gone over what I think of this. I think it's about still establishing himself as a Satoshi, and he is thus able to grant them this license, and they would have a problem with that. It is intended that the parties continue to develop, file and respect their own patents for their respective projects and seek to rely on patents and the corresponding laws in the usual way. So this is still keeping the validity of his patents. He wants those to be valid, right? Which is the whole crux of the case. They want those patents open. And he's sort of saying, we're going to make them open, but you still have to respect that they're my patents, which I think they would have a problem with. Opposition, including any affiliates, associates, employees or otherwise, shall not pursue and are prevented from pursuing any rights in relation to the BSV database. That's fair enough. I mean, in a way, BSV really is Craig's, right? Regardless of whether or not he's Satoshi, Bitcoin SV at least is his baby.